Hello beautiful souls, and welcome back to the art of light love, a form of unconditional agape love that is making its way back into our planetary consciousness. My name is Joanna. I am a psychic medium. I am a sound healer, Reiki practitioner, but all in all, I am simply you reflecting back what it is that you need to watch today, what your guides want you to hear. And that's why on this channel I do channeled messages. I give words of advice about the spiritual path, having been walking it for about 4 years and gone through several spiritual awakenings. I understand a lot of the struggles that we go through when we first wake up, the isolation, the dark night of the soul, the fear of the unknown, the thinking if we're crazy. And that's why I'm also a one-on-one conscious coach. And if you'd like to work with me, all my details, all my social medias, how to book with me is all down below. So today I want to talk to you guys about self-love. And it's a common misconception that when we're alone, when we're single, whether we've just broken up with somebody, whether we've been alone for a long time, you hear this phrase all the time. You have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. You have to love yourself before you can get into a relationship. And only when you love yourself will that relationship come. And now that hurts to hear. And I think the common misconception is to hear that phrase and hear what we think they're not saying, which is that we can only be in relationship when we love ourselves. That we have to love ourselves before we can be in relationship. And actually, when you listen closely and when you pay attention, when someone tells you that you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else, what they are actually saying, from my perspective, and what I say when I'm saying this phrase to others, is you must love yourself enough. You must love yourself enough to walk away from someone that you love before entering into partnership. Because if you don't love yourself enough, and the path isn't about being completely healed, being so full of love that we walk the earth not needing anybody. We are social creatures by design. Our ancestors grew up in community. Babies weren't put down for like the first 5 years of their lives. Someone was touching them, cuddling them, holding them. They were passed from ancestor, auntie hold her, mama hold her, uncle hold her, daddy hold her. Like the babies were strapped, they were held. We always had constant touch, and touch is such a basic human right. Being a community, being with others is such a basic human right. And a lot of us have learned as a trauma response that it's better to be alone. And so we isolate when we're in pain, and we isolate, but that's a whole nother story. When it comes to self-love, it's okay to crave the presence of someone else. We must start honoring our emotions because they are there for a reason. If anything, they're just signposts. Things that turn the mirror on us and have us look inwards. It is okay to understand and realize on a heart level that holding yourself is not the same as being held by someone else, no matter how much you tell yourself it is. Holding your own hand is not the same as having someone else's hand hold yours. There's a reason we can't tickle ourselves. It's the touch, it's the presence of somebody else in our lives. It's the love that we receive from other people in our lives, and it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. Best friends, platonic friendships, familial relationships, chosen family. These all count as loving partnerships. And a part of the you must love yourself in order to to be in partnership that I do believe in is that you must be surrounded by a supportive community of people as well, as a part of your soul tribe, as a part of your heart's conscious network. I'm sorry about the background noise. As you guys know by now, I'm in Guatemala and it is never quiet here. So what do I mean by you need to love yourself enough before you're in partnership? So let me start by saying that someone who does not love themselves typically has low self-esteem, low self-confidence, obviously low self-love, low self-worth, and someone who has low all of the above is going to allow themselves to be treated any sort of way, because a person with all of those things going on, and this is speaking from experience as someone who in the past had all of those things and you know, I tap in and out of them all the time. Healing isn't linear, it's fluid. Someone who has all of those things, those low self-X, will allow themselves to be treated in ways that no one who loves them should treat them. They may not be able to set boundaries. They may not be able to stand up for themselves. They may not be able to use their voice to protect themselves. They may not be able to protect themselves at all. And they will allow things to happen to them on the basis of, if I allow this to happen, then I won't be alone. If I allow this to happen, if I let them do these things, then I'm gonna be with somebody. Even though this somebody is causing me pain and harm, whether consciously or unconsciously, this person is causing me harm, but I'm not gonna say anything, I'm not gonna do anything about it, because I don't want them to leave. Again, speaking from a deep space of knowing, because that was my last relationship. Allowing anything to happen on both sides. Allowing myself to say anything that I needed to say to keep him with me in a very manipulative way. That's how my shadow came out, and I need to sneeze. And on the other hand, allowing myself to be spoken to, shouted at, allowing myself to be gaslighted, allowing my own view of who I am to be warped and altered. All because I didn't love myself enough to remove myself from that situation. And this is the difference. You can love yourself and still have work to do, still have healing to do, and get into partnership. And it's not about waiting until you're completely, who's going to tell you that you're completely full of self-love? What's the measure? I'm telling you, the measure could be, for you personally, do I love myself enough that if I got into a relationship with someone that I deeply, truly loved, but they were not listening to me, they were putting me down, they were narcissistic, they were abusive, they were shouting in my face, or they simply undermined me all the time. They didn't agree with the way that we were raising our kids, and they constantly undermined me in front of them. All of these little things that, when they add up and aren't addressed, will lead to an implosion. And also, loving yourself enough to walk away also extends to loving myself enough to speak up for myself. So instead of, do I love myself, can I get in a relationship? Ask, am I so in love with myself that even if the love of my life sat in front of me and I knew that man was hurting me continuously on a daily basis, and I either couldn't speak up, or when I did speak up, I was ignored and the pain was continuing, could I leave that person? And ask yourself truthfully. No one else is going to come along and be like, you lied. No one else is going to be like, tell the truth. You must be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, then how can you be honest with anybody else? Ask yourself honestly, if the love of my life, my dream man, walked through the door and hurt me, could I walk away from him? Could I vocalize my needs in that relationship, even though there would be a possibility that he might leave me? Because remember, if he's your dream man, if he's the man you're supposed to be with, he's not going to be treating you in any sort of abusive way. And so this is why it's kind of it's a conundrum, right? If the love of my life walked in and started hurting me, well, babe, that would make him not the love of your life. And this is why it's a good measure, because if you can walk away from someone that you have a deep trauma bond with, that makes you feel like you're in love, then baby girl, that means you're ready for the love of your life to walk in. Because when they do, they, him, hey, her, whoever walks through that door and actually is the love of your life and actually is your soulmate and actually is the person you're supposed to be with, they will not treat you badly, and they will listen to you, and they will communicate with you, and they will be working on their own shit, and they will take accountability for themselves, and they will be adaptable and flexible. They will change when you ask them to change. So if you are willing to let that person go, then by definition it means you're ready for that person to walk in. And this is why it's the catch-22. This is why the art of light love is just that. It's an art. It's a defined line. It is an understanding of your worth. It is an understanding of what it is that you deserve. And that's why you must love yourself enough to be alone. Love yourself enough to walk away from toxic situationships or situations. Because remember, it's not just romantic stuff I'm talking about. I'm talking about, can you cut off that family member that it drains your energy? Can you go no contact with that ex who keeps messaging you every 2 weeks like, you okay babe, miss you, when you know for a fact that man don't miss you and he don't love you, but you allow his number to enter your phone. Sorry, that's the London girl coming out of me. Don't be fooled by these earrings. This London bitch is like ready to white out. I will protect my people because I love myself enough. I love myself enough to vocalize my needs. I love myself enough to communicate hard things, to perceive things. Like, a gift of mine is just to see. I see things as they are. I perceive things. I perceive people. I can look into your eyes and know you. And we all have this gift to be able to see other people's flaws. But when that gift extends to be able to see your own, and not just your own, but the person that you deeply, deeply love, when you can look at them and remind yourself, oh, this person is not Adonis upon the mountaintop, he is just Jerry from Devon. Like, when you can love yourself enough to see through filters, that is when you are ready. And the art of self-love, the art of light love, is something that I'm going to cover in my next video, because I really believe that it is an art, and it is something that we are not taught. As children growing up in schools, you're not taught how to love yourself. You're not taught even what self-worth means, what self-value means. These are all things you don't hear until you're usually in your early 20s, to be honest. I don't know if things are changing now. I might just be showing my age. But I didn't hear about any of this stuff until I started my spiritual awakening. And by then I was 28. Self-love? What's that? What does it look like? What do you mean when you say love yourself? How? How do I do that? And so in my next video, I'll be diving into the ways in which I love myself, because I can't tell you what works for you. I can only tell you what has worked for me. The techniques, the little things that I do, the way I bring myself back to the body. It can be something so small as cooking yourself a hot meal when you know you need it but you're tired. It could be as simple as seeing yourself as a younger version of yourself and pouring yourself into them. But again, I will go into that in my next video. So just know this, you need to love yourself enough to be able to walk away from love if it was a love that was hurting you. And another form of love is self-discipline. And again, I'll go into that in my future video, but the reason I want to bring this up is because at the end of this week, if you're watching this when I release it, on Friday the 29th of March, I am kickstarting a 30-day challenge. And this challenge came about because of this video, which I'll put up here, where my guides were talking about how we must bring the masculine and feminine into balance within ourselves, and how a lot of us, myself included, swing all the way from harsh masculine in the capitalist society to soft, flowy feminine in the spiritual realm and world, but that we must bring ourselves back to balance by introducing discipline back into our lives. And a small form of discipline, my guides were saying, was to sit in stillness for 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes every day, I will be guiding you through meditations, to sing every day, bringing that Shakti element into the Shiva. So I'll be guiding you through 10 minutes of mantras, and to move every day. And so I'll be guiding you through a daily movement practice. All of this will take max 30 minutes. I'll be going live every morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you join my Facebook group, my private Facebook group for this challenge, which is in the link down below, you will receive a free workbook, which I'll be releasing on Thursday, and the link will be in the Facebook group. And you will also have access to all of the pre-recorded lives. So every time I record a live, it will stay on that Facebook page, which means that you don't have to wake up early in the morning to join me. It means if you're in a different time zone, you can simply watch the video at any time that suits you, but it means that you can still keep up with the challenge, and you will also be in a Facebook group with people who are doing this challenge alongside you, because this challenge will be challenging at times. There will be times where you don't want to. We have to face that resistance. The workbook has so many shadow work prompts that I guarantee you'll have a different outlook on yourself and a perspective on your healing journey by the end of this challenge. And my guides have said that if you can commit to this every day, 30 minutes, 3 exercises for 30 days, you will see drastic changes in your life. You just will. And I will too. And that's why I'm really looking forward to it. So the link to the Facebook group is down below. Please join it. I would love to see you there. And keep watching out for my next video, which will be how to love yourself. And for now, I will leave it there. And I love you.